Welcome back to another episode of Let Love Be Your Guide. My name is your host, Dominique Chantel, and today, let me tell you guys, I'm so excited because I have my brother, Harry Douglas. But let me first just run down the list of accolades. Okay, so he's a former NFL wide receiver for 10 years with the Atlanta Falcons and the Tennessee Titans. He's been on College Game Day, the analyst for ESPN. He's founder of the YouTube channel HD Connection. He's also co-founder of the Douglas Brothers Foundation, who he runs alongside his parents, his lovely parents. And they just celebrated the 14-year toy drive that I was a part of. Um, Now you are co-hosting your own show with Fritz on ESPN Radio from 12 to 3, right?
Yeah.
Man, so let me just say that I'm so happy to have you on. How are you?
Sis, I'm doing good. And when you asked me to do this, it was a no-brainer for me. Because you know of everyone how busy my schedule is. But, people I
Yes,
grew up with, people I love, and people that support me, not just, me playing football or me, working for ESPN, but you've been there from day one, supporting me through everything that we did community wise, me and the family. You've been supportive of our foundation since day one. So, and anything you ask me, I'm gonna be there for you. You know that. You know
well, I
that.
appreciate it. I definitely appreciate your time. You taking the time out to come and talk to me and my viewers. So tell my viewers, for those who are not familiar with Harry Douglas the Fourth, tell them a little bit about you, your story. And we're talking about just the importance of giving back and serving others. So just tell them a little bit about you.
I'll say for me, myself, I was born in Tampa, Florida. A lot of people don't know that about me. I was born in Tampa, Florida, moved to
Yeah.
Atlanta, the south side of Atlanta, when I was 4 years old. Grew up in Clayton County in Jonesboro, went to J.W. Arnold, Jonesboro
Yeah.
Middle, Jonesboro High School. And Nick, that's where we met in Jonesboro
Yeah.
High School.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
class of '03. I
Oh,
don't think there'll
three.
ever be a
Yes.
class better. Class of '03. Just something different about it.
It's
Something different.
nothing like us, right?
No, not at all. But I left
Okay.
Jonesboro High School.
So
Well, at Jonesboro High School, I played four sports. So for those of you who don't know, I played basketball,
yeah.
baseball, and
Yes.
track. Yeah, I found time to do it. But growing up, for
Yeah, you
me, it was more
did.
so it was me sacrificing, a lot of things that a lot of other kids were doing childhood wise, for a greater good. That's
Yeah.
how I looked at it, right? Sometimes you got to cut off your finger to save your hand. And me and my brother, we was able to sacrifice a lot of things early on, a lot of fun. So now at this point in our life, we can do what we want to. And my brother, Tony Douglas. So my
Right.
brother played in the
Yes,
NBA.
Tony. Yes.
Yep, played for a while. Now he's overseas in Portugal playing basketball. So we happen to have two-in-one family. But I went to the University of Louisville, where I spent 5 years because I redshirted my first year. And I'll say this:
Yeah.
a lot of people think the road was easy. Number one, I went to college undersized. I was like 5'8", 125 pounds. So from a
You were.
physical standpoint, yeah, from a very physical
Yeah.
standpoint, I didn't really fit the mold of a college D1 athlete. But my mindset was
Right.
way more stronger than my physical. And I think that's what really separated me from a lot
Yes.
of people, growing up and when I got to college, when I played in
Yeah.
the league, and even now at my full-time job at ESPN. I had a coach,
Yes.
Bobby Petrino, but his little brother, Paul Petrino, my wide receiver coach. He's a guy that took my mental toughness to another level. And just to travel back a little
Mm.
bit, I will say a few other people that I did have, coach wise. My father is my mentor. He's a
Yes.
person I've always looked up to. I can
Yes.
count on my dad for anything, even at age 38 right now and married and have my own kids. If I call my dad right now at
Yeah.
this moment, he'd be at my house within 20,
Yeah.
25 minutes. And that's how supportive he's
Yeah.
always been. I had another coach. Remember Coach Badier? Yep. Coach Badier was one of
Yes.
my
In high
my
school.
favorite, yes, one of my favorite coaches all time. And he was just a guy that, he was one of my football coaches. Also, he was my track coach. And I got a chance to work with Coach Badier one-on-one a lot. And he just passed away this past summer. And I was able to go to the funeral and be with his family and his kids. But I
Mm.
miss him because when I started working at ESPN, I can always count on Coach Body, keeping it real. Him and my father, they're gonna keep it real
Yeah.
no matter what the circumstances
Yes.
were.
Yes.
And the first thing and the last thing Coach Body would always, say to me when we got on the phone and when we got off the phone is, "You taking care of those babies and your wife, right?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." And then before we got off the phone, "You taking care of those babies and that wife, right?" And I was like, "Yes, sir." But that was just genuinely him. So I loved him for everything that
Yeah.
he taught me, and somebody I was very, very close with. My high school basketball coach, Coach Kane, he was somebody, man, that I really
Yes.
admired a lot. And he gave us that tough love, just like my father did. And then my college coaches, like I just remembered. Then I got to the National Football League where I was able to get drafted to the
Yes.
team
Yes.
I grew up watching,
Yes.
the
So,
Atlanta Falcons.
can you tell us about that? Because, like you said, it's all about
Yes.
mindset and the mental toughness. The fact that you made it. Let me tell you, before you even begin to talk, I knew that you were different. Just the way that you carried yourself, even when your father had us dressed up in high school, we were the youth group and we
Yep.
had to dress up, and people were asking us like, "Why y'all dressing up?"
Yep.
Because he knew, we needed to present ourselves in a certain way, and he was creating that mindset for us of professionalism. And so if you can just
That's
talk
right.
about that again, just the mindset, your mindset, because your work ethic, bro, is insane. Let me just say that. I am so happy
Thanks,
to
sis.
be you welcome like your sister and to call you my friend. And so let's just talk about your work ethic.
Yeah, I'll say, man, it started early on in life with my father, right? Seeing my father, him and my mother both bend over backwards and do everything they
Yeah.
can so me, my brother, and sister can have an opportunity at this game called life, right? And I learned a lot of
Yeah.
principles. I learned discipline. I learned balance. I learned structure. And I learned how to always give it 110% no matter what you do, no matter if it was big, no matter if it was small. And when you do those
Right.
things, no one could ever question you as a human being or question me as a man. Because if I'm
Mhm.
going to wash the
Yeah.
dishes, I'm going to do it 110%. If I'm going to take the trash out,
Come on
I'm going to
now.
do it
Come on
110%.
now.
It doesn't matter what it is. I'm going to always give my all because I never wanted anybody to question me, nor did I never wanted to let anyone down around me. It's just like in my job now with ESPN.
Yeah.
One of the things I never want to do is, number one, cheat my coworkers of the 100% me, but also I never want to cheat the viewers and listeners of what I can help them
Mm.
understand when it comes to sports, or life lessons as well.
Yeah.
Because through football, through basketball, baseball, track, all those different things, you learn so many life lessons, and you learn communication skills, you learn team building,
Yeah.
right? You
Yes.
learn about adversity, how to face it and get through it, or not get through it,
Right.
or face it head on and challenge
Right.
it and come out on top. So it's so many different life lessons you learn throughout sports. But I tell you, man, my mom and dad are my role models, and they set the example, for me, my brother, and my sister. They set the standard, and that standard wasn't going to be compromised for anybody, right? Schoolwork, that was
Right.
the number one priority in our household. It wasn't sports. A lot of people say, okay, you made it as a professional athlete, and so did your brother. Sports wasn't the number one thing in my household. I'll be the first to tell you. I wanted
Right.
to be a lawyer way before I wanted to make anything professionally, and that was just our mindset.
Yes.
So I give a lot of the credit to my mom and dad because they instilled some great things. But dressing for success, my father, man,
Yes.
knew a lot. He knew a lot of things before we actually knew.
He
And
yes.
listen,
Yes.
that Joker, man, used to tell us, like, listen, one day a week we used to dress up in suits and stuff in school.
Yep.
But he was, like you mentioned, he was creating that mindset
Yes.
for when we get to a certain point in life, we
Yes.
wasn't questioning things. We already had it built in us, right? And
Yeah.
not only that, though, he had me and my brother, man, at a young age, middle school, sitting down in the living room with a camcorder, interviewing us and teaching us how to speak and that whole nine. We was doing stuff like that in middle school. So I appreciate him
Wow.
110% and my mother for, doing the things they were able to do, and I'll say preparing us for the real world.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk a little bit because I love your mom, Miss Stephanie Douglas. I love your dad too, but we know behind every strong man is a stronger woman. Listen, your
Yup.
mother is the epitome of love. When I say that woman loves, and when I met her, I felt the love and the energy, and I said, I want to be just like her. You know, I know you're a mother's boy and you talk about it all the
Yes, I
time.
am.
Let's just talk about your mom and then the
Yeah.
inspirational messages. Is that where you draw your inspiration from? Talk about your
Yeah, I
mom,
was.
Harriet.
Yeah, I'm a mama's boy, 110%. Listen, I'm close with both of my parents, but
Yeah.
my daddy will tell you, listen, I'm clinging to my mom. That's my girl
Yeah.
because number one, I know, and my dad's not gonna tell me what I want to hear either. My mom is really like on, 110% gonna tell me, hey, nope, you're wrong, and she's
Yes.
gonna do it in a way where it's not demeaning me or it's making me feel some type of way. And I appreciate her for that. You talk about a God fearing, a holy
Mhm.
woman, a virtuous woman.
Yeah.
That's my mom.
Yes. And she
And
walks
to
it.
be able
She
to,
walks it.
yes, in everyday life. And
Yes.
I'll tell you, Nick, for me, she was such a great example for what I wanted, my wife to be or be similar
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
And I wasn't going to be able to accept anything other than what I grew up seeing and knowing a real woman was supposed to be. And for her, man, like it's like every week
Absolutely.
sending me scriptures, and my mom always
Yeah.
know when it's a lot on my plate and a lot is some stuff is bothering me because she always knows like the right scripture and the right message to send me, or she'll call me
Yes.
and she just
Yep.
understand it. But she taught me patience. She taught me how to love, right? She taught
Yeah.
me how to be more understanding because these are a lot of
Yeah.
things. She helped me work on my anger problem I may have had when I was growing
Yeah.
up. All
Yeah.
these things she helped me with, right? And then sometimes I can call my mom and I'm fussing, not at her, but at a situation. And
Yes.
she will not sit there and let me do it. She's like, well, she every negative she brings some kind of positive to
Positive.
the life. So, and I appreciate her for that dearly. Um, that's my girl there now. Like that's
Yes.
my girl, and
Yes.
I'm lucky
Listen,
enough to have
absolutely.
my wife be similar to my mom. Like, and they have a great
Yes.
relationship. And she take my wife's side
Yes.
most of the time. She'd be like,
Yeah.
"Nope, you're wrong."
We gotta stick together. Listen, and I've
Yup.
seen it. Beautiful family. And just talking about just family, because you guys, the Douglas family, has always set the bar high for family and then also in giving back to the community. So just talk about how the idea came about, the Douglas Brothers Foundation, giving back and serving people. This was the 14th annual
Yep.
holiday treat where you give toys away to kids who are not as fortunate. Talk about that and how that came to be.
I would say honestly, it started when we were kids, and a lot of people think, because me and my brother play a professional sport, that we may have grew up with a lot of money, or my dad was able to, put us in certain things growing up. We didn't grow up with money like that. We didn't.
Right.
My mom and dad missed car payments and house payments, so me and my brother and sister could do the things that we wanted to do. A lot of people don't even know that.
Mhm.
And not only that,
Mhm.
my dad drove around and picked up other kids, and they stayed at our house like a whole summer and
Yeah.
gave other kids in other communities opportunities to, be successful in life or whatnot, and without even having the funds or means to do it, but they figured out a way to do it. So it
Yes.
started, man, like as I was a kid, and we used to go feed the homeless, and it's not like we had all the food in the world that we could have. I mean, we didn't lack food, but it's not like
Right.
we had everything.
Right.
Christmas, we didn't get to. I laugh at my kids. We didn't get to pick, me and my brother, and my sister, what we wanted for Christmas.
Right.
We didn't get to
You
do
got what
that.
you got.
Yeah, like, hey, open up that Christmas present. That's your Michigan sweatsuit. That's your Tony. That's your North Carolina sweatsuit. That's your shoes. Hey, we ain't picking those
Yeah.
shoes out, but we never
Yeah.
complained about it because we
Yeah.
knew, how much
Yeah.
our parents meant to us. We knew the things that they did for us to be successful. And I would just say, I don't know, Nick. It's crazy because without my mom and dad, I would not be in this situation. I wouldn't even
Mm.
be close to the situation that I'm in right now because they was just so supportive of everything. And when it came to the foundation, our foundation started back in 2019. I mean, excuse me, 2009.
It's 2000. Yeah,
Yeah. Yep. Started in 2009. And, me, my mom and dad, and my brother, Tony Douglas, we just, talked about some things and we started it up. And it just continuously started to get bigger and bigger every year to the point to where we do a back to school drive, we do coat drive, we, have reading clubs, take kids
reading
on college
classes.
tours,
Yeah,
have a huge Christmas event. We just do a lot of different things to, educate and empower underprivileged kids and families for the betterment of the community. And I think that's huge for me because
absolutely.
what blows my mind is where a lot of people are in the situations to give back to a community, no matter if it's your community or a different community or where it is, but they don't. And I would never forget where I
Yeah,
come from. And number two, I never forget what God told me to do. And that's why I'm such a chill forgiver because number one, my parents set the example, but God told me to do it. And at the
yeah,
event this past weekend, I was telling people like I let my kids see me. Sometimes when people standing on the side of the road and I give them money, I let my kids see me do that.
right.
And it's to the point now, if I don't stop and give people money, my kids will be like, Daddy, that's a shame on you. You should have stopped and gave them some money. And I got to explain to them why I didn't have any
Listen,
cash with me. But,
right. Let
I'm
me
just sowing that seed. Like, you know what I mean?
Yes, yes, and I wanna talk about that really quickly. Your dad told me a story where one day you guys were downtown Atlanta, I think. You were, maybe 13 or 12, something like that, and he
Mhm.
said there was a homeless man, and your dad didn't have any cash on him, and he asked for some money. And your dad was like, "Oh, I don't have anything." And you pulled the $5 that you had out of your pocket and you gave it to the man. It's like, wow. So from that age, even before then, you've been practicing giving. So it's automatic to you now when you have reached the status of being so successful. So I just think that that's amazing. And I appreciate you giving
Appreciate
back and may you continue to do
it.
so. You know, others are blessed and filled because of your foundation. So, with that being said, I do want to talk about um, just what legacy do you want to leave for your family? We talked about giving. Ultimately,
Yeah.
you have a beautiful wife, Kiera, your son, um, and then you have Harrison. What legacy do
Yeah.
you want to leave for your kids?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because to me that's one of the most important things, right? Because everything that I do right now at this point in my life is not for me. It's for,
Yeah,
my kids, the Douglas name, my nieces and nephews, my
yeah,
great grandkids when I have them, and, generations down the generational line.
right.
But number one, I want everybody to look back and say, you know what? It started with Harry Douglas and Tony Douglas, my brother. Everything
Yeah,
started with them. And they put this family in a situation to where we don't have any worries, right? But they still instilled
yeah,
those principles of hard work, dedication, balance, structure, the same thing that my father did. But I'm excited for, at Jonesboro High School, we played basketball. The gym floor is gonna
yeah.
be named after me and my brother. Stuff like that is huge for me, right? Because
That is
it's our
amazing.
name, Douglas Brothers Court. My kids can always
Yeah.
go back. You know what? This is our name. This is our legacy. This is our family's legacy. And my brother at Florida State, he's in the Florida State Sports Hall of Fame. That's a legacy,
Wow.
right? I'm in the Louisville
See,
Sports Hall of
yes,
Fame.
yes,
That's legacy. But the number one thing, though, giving back to the community. And
yes.
we don't do it for accolades. We don't do it for people to notice us. We do it because we love to do it and we want to do it, right? But I want the Douglas name to be remembered for everything that they do in the community and everything that they do for others, right? On top
Yeah,
of, being really good at sports and, you know what I mean, being really good with people, not thinking they're too big to, go hang out over here at a bar with people or go hang out here at a bar at a restaurant with
right.
people or go talk to anybody. I was on the airplane the other day, Nick, coming back from New York. And
Yeah,
I tweeted out, got about 2 hours to spare. Y'all ask me anything. And a dude tweeted me and was like, hey,
yeah,
my
I saw
son,
that.
my son is on the plane with you, him and his wife. And I was like, well, what seat is your son
Mm,
in? And he tweeted me the seat that he was in. I was like, well, I'm gonna go holler at him. So I went back there, took a picture with his son or whatnot. It's just little stuff like that, man. I would never think I'm
yeah,
above anybody. I'm on the same level with people. And that's how I always been. That's how I was raised. And That's
Yeah.
how I want to be remembered. A man of the people, a man that loves his
Yeah.
family, a man that gives back to the community, um, a cheerful giver, and just
Yes.
love people.
Yeah, absolutely. And the Bible says a wise man leaves an inheritance for his children's children.
There you
So,
go.
you on the right path, you know? And,
Yeah.
at the actual holiday treat, you said something that I was like, "Okay, he gotta Insta this, he gotta put this quote in a book when he write it."
You know I'm gonna write that book. You
He
know I'm gonna
you
write that book.
listen, call your girl, you know.
That's right.
You said, "While trying to strive for something we can never be, which is perfect, we can become great."
That's right.
And that stuck with me. That stuck with me. And so, where did that come from? I mean, that was just amazing. That's something you put in a quote book.
And I'm trying to remember. I don't know where I heard it from, Neat. Um, it may have been in college, long time ago,
Oh my
and
goodness.
and it might not have even been verbatim those direct words, but I don't know. It's something. It always stuck with me, right? Because so many
Yeah.
people in this world try to be so perfect, and it's humanly
Yeah.
impossible to be perfect
Possible.
within anything
Yes.
that you do. But while striving to be something,
Absolutely.
we can never be perfect. You become great within the process. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That
Yeah,
just always
absolutely.
sticks with me, and I tell people you don't have to be perfect. And I have this conversation with my daughter a lot because I do a lot of her homework with her, and she gets upset when
Yeah.
she may get something wrong, and I tell her, well, baby, that's why we're practicing. You know what I mean? You're
Right.
practicing so it can be right. Right? Everything's not going to be right all the
Right.
time, but it's how you deal with it, though. How you overcome
Yeah.
it. Can you keep a cool
Yes.
head? Can you relax? Can you do
Yeah.
it over and over again
Yeah.
till you do remember it? And those are some of the things I'm trying
Yeah.
to instill, like in my kids as well.
Yeah. That's real good. Real good. So here's the thing. I gotta ask you about one current event
Mhm.
because it's itching on me.
Yep.
The Deion Sanders moved to Colorado.
Yeah.
The criticism that he's getting on the back
Yep.
end. First of all, I'm like, it's an opportunity. Great. Take it. Who wouldn't take an opportunity to better their family, their career, to better themselves? But he's getting a lot of criticism on the back end. How
Mhm.
can we kind of cure that? Or what's your take on that, especially in the Black community?
Well, first of all, I was very disappointed that so many people were criticizing him for taking a job at Colorado. Right? If for some reason,
Yeah,
and the first thing comes to my mind is that y'all don't like to see people elevate. Not saying that,
right,
you know what I mean, Colorado is better than Jackson State or whatnot, but if Dion felt like that was the best thing for him, if Dion said the
right.
good man upstairs said that to him and told him it was time to move on, who are we as a man to
Right.
question what God tells another man what to do? That, that's
To
that's
do.
that's a problem that I
I
have.
know.
Like and
Hey,
like he mentioned, when God told him to come there, what none of y'all telling me, nope, God didn't tell you that. So how are you gonna tell another man
right.
when God tells him to move on somewhere else? That really bothered me.
Yeah,
It triggered me too,
yeah.
Dominique. Like it really triggered me
I know.
because I think sometimes people pick and choose what they want to say
Yeah,
and what they want to be upset about. Dion did some phenomenal things and brought a lot of attention to HBCUs in Jackson State to the point to where we had
yes.
college game day at Jackson State versus
Mhm.
Southern this year, right? That was
Yep.
huge for college game day to be able to go to Jackson, Mississippi and host college
See.
game day there. And it was a phenomenal time. I mean, phenomenal
Yeah.
time. We went to the little battle of the bands the night before and whatnot. It was just amazing.
That's it. Yep.
But these are
Yes.
the kind of avenues that Dion opened up. This kind of avenues that
Yeah.
he got 5-star, 4-star kids to start going back there. And you look at the history of HBCUs, and you look at guys that are in the Hall of Fame. HBCUs have a lot of guys that's in the Hall of Fame. You talk about Jerry Rice, Shannon Sharp, Steve McNair,
Yes. Yes.
Mel Blunt, and on and on and on and on. You can go down the line.
Absolutely.
But I commend Dion for taking the job number one because it was going to be a challenge to get that team to where it is now. He was
Right.
successful in doing so. Now it's on to the next chapter. You can't be mad at another man for wanting to move on to the next chapter, especially if he says the good man upstairs spoke to him and told him it was time to move on.
Hold 'em. Absolutely, absolutely. And then last thing, I always tell my viewers, because it's all about mindset. That's what this channel is about. May you
Yep.
always be believing so that you can always be receiving. The fact that if you believe something, that you can do it if you put your mind to it. So, what's a famous quote, or what do you want to leave with my viewers? If you can leave them with a positive quote or affirmation.
Well, I would say it's in the Bible. Where there's no vision, the people will perish. You got to have a vision for
Mm,
everything in your life, man. If you don't have a vision, you'll stand
yeah,
for anything. Anybody can get you to do anything, right? So make sure you have a
right.
vision for your life. You speak things into existence. That's one of the things that I do every single day. There's nothing in this world that
Yeah.
I feel like I can't accomplish because I visualize it, I speak it, and I know it's going to happen. Not, oh, I think it's going to happen. I hope it. I don't live by
I
that.
know.
I know it's
Yes.
going to happen. It's just a matter of when it's going to happen, but I know it's going to happen.
Right.
Now, the
Right, by that
the
faith.
timing is not on me. The timing is on God of when it happens. But just when it
Yeah.
does happen, make sure you're ready.
Ready. Hey, stay
Make sure you're ready.
ready, and you
Yep.
won't have to get ready, right?
Yep.
All right. Well, thank you so much, brother, my friend. I appreciate you. I love you and your family. Thank you for coming on. We definitely gonna have you back, okay?
Yeah. No
So,
problem. You know that,
guys,
girl.
yes, yes. Thank you. And again, may you always be believing so that you may always be receiving. And may you always let love be your guide in life today, forever, and always. I'm Dominique Chantel. Peace out, y'all.